Hi everybody, it's Bob G from Top of the Triangle. I've been doing a lot of research lately into cryptids and encounters, and I came across one that I really want to share with you. Some of you might even remember this one. It takes place in Abington, Mass. In the summer of 1976. And it involves a creature I like to call the hellhound. It has a lot of documentation to back it up, including calls to the police and even an article in the Boston Globe. During my research, one of my favorite podcasts actually covers it. And since he can tell the story better than I ever could, I'm going to play you a clip from episode 136 of Lore by AAron Mahnke, entitled The Third Time.
Carol was a cliché. She was a 12-year-old girl with a real pony. Two, in fact, Jojo and Peekaboo. But on April 30th of 1976, all of that changed. That's when her father, Philip, stepped outside to find both of the ponies had been killed during the night. He knew this because the creature that had killed them was still standing over their corpses, eating their bloody flesh with huge, ravenous mouthfuls. Both of the ponies lay on their side in the grass of the backyard, where Carol had left them tethered the night before. The ropes still hung loosely from the trees to their halters, but they were no longer necessary. The first thing the creature had done, it seems, was rip out their throats. Philip described the beast as an enormous dog, roughly the same size as the ponies it had slaughtered. He said it had elements of German Shepherd and maybe Rottweiler in its appearance, but it was like no dog he had ever seen before. It was big and black and deeply interested in its morning meal. And Philip, a big, strong firefighter, was afraid for his life. He grabbed a baseball bat that leaned beside the door and then took a step toward it. But he quickly stopped, perhaps because of fear or maybe because common sense finally took over. Whatever the enormous dog was, a bat wasn't going to do the job. So he quietly slipped back into the house and returned a moment later with a handgun. He aimed at the large shape and fired, assuming that it would be nearly impossible to miss, but somehow he did. The sound of the shot did startle the creature, though, and it quickly bolted for the shadows of the trees at the back of the property. And then, it was gone. But it wouldn't be the last time it would be spotted. And if I'm honest, that doesn't surprise me. Philip and his family lived in the Massachusetts town of Abington, one of the 3 points that make up the rough shape of the Bridgewater Triangle. It's a mysterious patch of land that has played host to all manner of unusual experiences, so a black dog doesn't seem out of the ordinary in that context. Still, Philip alerted the authorities, and the sheriff quickly set out to find and kill the creature. They focused their attention on the edge of town, where civilization blurred into woodland and mystery, and as they did, the community spiraled into panic. People were afraid for their safety, for their children and pets and anything else that might be at risk outside. And as the panic spread, the police began to receive phone calls about sightings and rumors. At first, it was a trickle, but it quickly turned into a flood. By the end of the third day, the police had received over 1,000 calls, hinting at just how deep of a nerve this mysterious dog had touched. A few people claimed that they saw the dog lurking behind the local ice cream stand. Another man said that he looked out his apartment window to see it in the woods behind the building, its mouth dripping with a thick, dark liquid. Blood, he suggested. Maybe even human blood. News of the sightings even landed on the front page of the Boston Globe, which acted like gasoline on an open flame. Schools brought in police to guard their children during recess. Stores sold out of firearms. And Philip stayed busy too, responding to a steady flow of requests from the police to identify animal remains in hopes that the beast had been killed. Later that week, the police brought in a special dog of their own, one that had been trained to track other animals. And it worked. For the first time since Philip had stepped outside his back door and spotted the beast, the police working with that dog finally spotted the creature they were looking for. The officer following the search dog found the mysterious creature walking along a stretch of railroad tracks near the woods. Knowing that the animal had been reported as extremely dangerous, he aimed his shotgun at it from a safe distance, and then fired. The shot echoed through the open air, and birds launched themselves into the sky from the trees around the tracks. But the enormous dog just stood silently, unmoving and unshaking and unafraid. And then, after a few nervous moments, it quietly turned and walked off into the woods, as if nothing at all had happened. The folks of Abington never saw the black dog again, but true to the power of folklore, they've never forgotten it either. And how could they? Because all of us have wondered about the danger that lurks in the shadow, about the things we don't understand that leave us feeling out of our depth. And for the people of Abington, the black dog was that nightmare come to life. It's almost as if they expected its arrival. And who knows when it might return.